Hey, it's Mackenzie here from Cedar, and today I'm going to be talking about what are the benefits of hiring a chief of staff. And so there are 6 benefits that I'm going to get into, and those benefits can apply to 3 sets of stakeholders that I talked about in my last video. Those stakeholders include number 1, the CEO, number 2, the executive team, and number 3, the board and investors. So let's get into these benefits. Number 1, the first benefit is the chief of staff acts as a force multiplier for the CEO. Number 2, the chief of staff helps save time for the CEO. Number 3, the chief of staff establishes a get-it-done work cadence and operating rhythm. Number 4, there's better cross-functional communication when a chief of staff steps in. Number 5, there is an ability to plug a resource gap that the chief of staff can employ. And then the last one is the chief of staff brings a strategic mindset to all aspects of his or her work across the entire organization. And so I'm going to get into each of those 6 different benefits here now. So the first benefit I mentioned is that the chief of staff helps the CEO as a force multiplier. And in one of my last videos, the chief of staff can play many different roles. I've been through them, but again, here they are quickly. The chief of staff is a strategic advisor. It's a trusted confidant, master organizer, executive presence coach, and CEO proxy. And so all these types of roles help extend the power of the principal, which is the CEO. The second thing I mentioned in terms of a benefit of a chief of staff is around the time saved to the CEO. And so related to the concept of force multiplier, the chief of staff takes on tasks and projects off of the CEO plate that they don't have time. And so this allows the CEO to be more creative, to have more uninterrupted deep work sessions, and to have a better control and handle on their own schedule. The third benefit I mentioned around the chief of staff is how this resource is able to implement a get-it-done type of work cadence and rhythm. And so the chief of staff is a ruthless executor, someone who's very efficient with their time and really trying to drive towards results. And because they are touching multiple parts of the organization, the process that they bring and the work style that they bring rubs off onto other business units and other peers. The fourth benefit that I mentioned around the chief of staff is around better cross-functional communication. Because the chief of staff sits across all business units and talks to all senior leadership, they pretty much know what's going on in terms of initiatives across all BUs. And so they are able to spot problems and raise issues or share information among different BUs that wouldn't necessarily be shared. They can also obviously promote better collaboration and communication, especially in these executive senior leadership meetings, which they can help run. And so again, the chief of staff can bring a benefit around better cross-functional communication to the company. Number 5, the chief of staff can plug a resource gap. And so oftentimes with companies that are growing, they're obviously taking on new challenges and new problems. And specific expertise to leverage to respond to these problems, that expertise is not necessarily present at all times within the company. And so say there's a very specialized expertise around email marketing automation that's needed and no one is able to play that role. The chief of staff can play a stopgap capability in that email marketing automation expertise role until a resource can be hired or a vendor can be brought in. So plugging a resource gap is a benefit that a chief of staff can bring to a company. And then finally, I mentioned strategic mindset. And so the chief of staff is not only an operator, but also a strategic thinker. And so they are thinking not only in the short, but also in the medium and long term. They're looking at the overall vision and mission of the company and trying to bring in that perspective to day-to-day conversations. And so whether or not they are leading a strategic initiative, whether or not they are in an executive senior leadership meeting, whether or not they're just interacting with their peers at the company, they are asking probing questions and using strategic frameworks in order to do their job. And so this excellence around strategic thinking is a standard that they're bringing to their everyday work. And so this type of thinking can be implemented and rub off onto other folks at the company. So again, today we talked about those 6 benefits for a chief of staff. Number 1, the CEO Force Multiplier. Number 2, the CEO time saved. Number 3, plugging a resource gap. Number 4, strategic mindset. Number 5, get it done capability. And number 6, better cross-functional communications, had it on my list. Those are the 6 benefits that the chief of staff brings. Hope you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.